Bueno, buenas tardes.
Good afternoon, and thank you everybody for being here with us today in the Espacio Telefónica from the Telefónica Foundation. My name is Pablo Gonzalo. I come from the area of art, culture, and thought of the foundation, and I just wanted to address a few words to you. First of all, to welcome you, and second, to tell you that it's a true honor and pleasure to be able to host the presentation of the Think Equal program that's been promoted by the Gomaespuma Foundation, and just to spend a few minutes here talking about topics that I believe are very, very important, and for our foundation they are surely very important. Things like such emotional well-being, education, training. And from the Telefónica Foundation, the truth is we are delighted for many different reasons. First, because we have collaborated with the Gomaespuma Foundation before in other projects, and we know what they do very, very well. And we are very excited to help as much as we can, like hosting this event here today. But also, given the topic of the event today, Fundación Telefónica, the Telefónica Foundation, well, if you know us, two of our most important programs are linked to education and training, Pro Futuro, Pro Future. It's a program that it's not as well known here in Spain, but I believe it is one of the educational programs that are most important around the world. And we walk around digital training in many countries in Latin America, Asia, and Africa. And we try to train both children and teachers. And the other program, one of the most important from the Telefónica Foundation, Campus 42. We've got 4 campuses here in Spain, and we train young people around the digital world and programming. It's very closely linked to the labor market. So, well, without further ado, I believe there's no better moment or a better place to talk about education, and it's probably the best time to talk about this program presented by the Gomaespuma Foundation. I want to thank Juan, Cano, and Guillermo Fesser for all the work they do in their foundation, and for also counting on us for today's event. And without further ado, because I am sure you all are all excited to listen to them, I'll give the floor to Antonella Broglia, a person that's very, very close to us as well. We have collaborated with her a lot as well, and she's going to guide us in this event. Thank you very much. Thank you, Pablo. We're here, we're live. Yes, you can take that away. We're live. Hello, I'm saying hello to all those of you following us from the cameras. We're here in Gran Via in Madrid, and we're talking about the most important thing of all. Pablo said some of the most important things, but I believe it is the most important thing, which is education. And tomorrow is the World Day of Education. You probably know this because you're all educators. And there are companies that are here today because they support education, so I'm sure they know that as well. And for us, education is the most important thing of all. But for us, the most important education is, in our opinion, social and emotional education for infants, for children. That's what we're here to talk about. Social training, and we're presenting a program that's called Think Equal, as you can see here, and that's precisely its objective: to teach children to handle their emotions and feelings, to have a better life, to have better relationships with the people around them in their environment, to have a better relationship with with everything around them. So Think Equal promotes not just emotional well-being, but also equality, social justice, and it does that with 3-year-olds, because that's when you can make a difference, and you know that because you are educators. And then, well, after that, it's late, because when you're 3, that's when you build the foundations of a more equal and respectful society that we haven't got today and that we must have. This is organized by the Gomaespuma Foundation, 2 persons who are loved in this country, and they have a humor program. But 23 years ago, they got to a turning point in their lives, and this year, today is about people who change, and changing what's around us is amazing. And 23 years ago, they created a foundation, the Gomaespuma Foundation, and they want to get training and culture closer to the places that need the most around the world. And they started with this, 4 years ago something clicked in their minds, and they decided to bring it to Spain. And they've been working at many different levels to be able to do it here. So they are the main mediators of this program. And today's session started in the morning, and it was extremely exciting. And you weren't there, so we're going to show you a video reportage of everything that happened, because we were in a school in the Cortes de Cáiz school near Las Tablas here in Madrid, or not very sure about what neighborhood that is, but still. And we visited an amazing school, and we had a press release there, but we had the visit of the Queen Letizia, who was directly in touch with these 3-year-olds, and both parties were just in awe. And so we're gonna show a clip to see what happened. Marcos, please, roll the clip.
Bueno, el colegio es flipante en sí.
Well, the school is just amazing, and just walking the corridors. Here they are. Look at this. 700 children, and they they flooded and the place, and the Queen with their hugs and their warmth. And the Queen gave what this program can do. She realized that the children, we are in this program because, behind all the programs, all the curricula have this emotional training, but doing these in a systematized way, in an organized way, provides much better results. The experience could have been better, and I just want to encourage every educational center in Madrid and anywhere else around the world to join the program, and I am sure they're going to be extremely happy with their results, because we all have to get involved in a better mental health of our children, because they'll be the adults of the future. Carmen Partida, she's the headmaster of the school. She's the last one that you saw here in the clip. And we also had the Secretary of State of Education, Abelardo de la Rosa Díaz, the Counselor of Education, Science and Universities, Emilio Viciana, and some other personalities. And the truth is, it was amazing. And this afternoon, it's also going to be amazing. We have a very distinguished audience. We have educators, we have counselors of education, we have networks of schools. You are our main allies. So schools, we want to seduce you in this event. And companies, you say, what have companies got to do with this? There are companies who want to collaborate and they want to invest in education because they know the consequences are very important for them as well. So thank you all for being here today. And for those of you at home, hello as well. And just 3 things before we start. We've been here for 4 years, so we've already got data to see if this works or if it doesn't, to start to check if this works or not. So 33 public schools. We've got Madrid, and we are also in Ciudad Real and in Asturias. So 214 classroom, over 300 teachers trained in social and emotional training. We have impacted over 700 children, but we love to get things that we got directly from the mouths of these teachers who were you've got the sentences here? That was amazing. Great. So we've got these sentences from these teachers. These teachers said that there's still conflicts in the playground, but given that they now have been trained on how to deal with these things in the playground, now they know how to face conflict. And maybe they don't get it right, but at least they have a path because they've taught them how to do this. And second, this one, this skill is essential. Nobody teaches this to children. If we don't do it in school, who's going to do it? And that's a great question. Third phrase, with this program, thank you. With this program, children realize that people are diverse, people from different races, from different cultures, from different genders, and they realize that the world's much bigger than what they see, and this is transformative. Let's go ahead. We're going to talk to a series of guests. Of course, the world president. She came from London. We've got Leslee Udwin here with us. Welcome. Oh, huge hand for her. Yes, of course. Yes. And we're going to talk to David Cervera Olivares. He's the Director General of Bilingualism and Quality of Training of the Community of Madrid. Without him, this would have been possible. And with him, we're going to talk to a teacher as well, Elena Bartolomé Pérez. She is the coordinator of the Think Equal program in that amazing school we just saw in the clip. And we're going to start with Sandra Astete. Sandra, she comes from UNICEF. And she's in charge of the mental health strategy of UNICEF. And she is an amazing advocate of children's rights. And at the end, you'll be able to have a dialogue with the 6 of them, including Gomaespuma. We're going to have a dialogue at the end. And we expect to finish by 2040. But before anything else, I'd like to give the word to Guillermo, Fesser, and Juan Cano from the Gomaespuma Foundation, because this is your program. So 5 minutes, go.
Hola, buenas tardes, gracias.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Antonella, Antonella just mentioned anything. So questions? Well, you know what the 3-year-olds are like. I mean, well, but before anything else, Guillermo, we want to thank the Telefónica Foundation, and being here was quite emotional, because I have many memories. I met Guillermo here in this street in Fuencarral. He was wearing one of these things saying I buy gold, and he said, should we start a program? And I said, sure. And that's when I made him famous. Well, in Telefónica here, they had these phone boxes for international calls, and I had a foreign girlfriend, and I just come here. Yes, you used to buy those tokens, and tokens were, I don't know, 200 pesetas back in the day. And we were making 5,000 a month, I believe. So I called them, hello, how are you, clun, clun, clun. And that sound of clun, 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 you know, those coins dropping, and didn't even have time to say, how are you doing? It still haunts me at night. So that's a clear example of a child without any emotional training. Well, before that, let's say hello to the people back there. Yeah, you paid less, right? No, these people did not pay at all. So, but they're here. Come on, so have a seat. You can. She's a friend of mine. Anna, please. Well, we want to say hello to those people watching things in streaming, because they might be in their underwear at home, and you should be thankful. I mean, it's great for them. Well, let's summarize what we saw in the morning. We went to school, and we spent the morning with 3, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds. Don't leave. Please don't leave. They're leaving already. Why are you leaving already? Oh, that's disgusting. Well, it seems children are born, they reproduce, and they die. That's what children do, apparently. And then, I don't know if you agree with me, but but children they're always in the worst of all ages. I mean, you go to someone who's got a newborn, and they bite you with one tooth. Now that's the worst age. You go with a house where there's a 5-year-old, they put their fingers in the socket, and when they're 40, yeah, same thing. You know, a couple with a very well protected child, and when they're 40, they let them go and buy bread. Well, we started in the Gomaespuma Foundation, trying to provide education training in different countries, people who did not have access, and some of them, and we 30 minutes later we said, wait, why did we got into this? But no training or education or anything. But the moment you start walking with around training, it's just. So we started so many years ago. Some of the children have retired already, and yeah, that's the bad thing about working with children. They really grow very, very fast. So you try to do some follow-up, and when you want to take the second picture, they're balding already or something. But when we met Leslee, we realized that all the things we had in our heads, which was basically to try to help children. But I don't know what. We met Leslee and said, let's do that. No, she had done it already. It was easier. It required much less work, and we said, let's do that. What's the program called? Think Equal? Yes. Well, this is what the program is about. What we do in the Gomaespuma Foundation, well, we implement these and we work with children, 3 to 6 year olds. So 2.5 year olds or 6 and a month year olds. Now, if you're 6 and 1 month, go back home. My son, Johnny, no way. He was born in December. You know what? Go home. So it's implemented with children between 3 and 6. And why? Because everything sticks to your mind. They're sort of a sponge. If you shower frequently, you know what I'm talking about. So they truly absorb everything, good things and bad things. But in this case, it's good things. It's like Velcro. If you use it a lot, it doesn't work as well. Yes, people who are very hairy, who have a very hairy back, and they're in the table, and then when they try to stand up, well, basically the same thing. But what we try to do is to train teachers, and most of them are female teachers, mostly women, and I'm happy about it. And we provide training so they can implement the Think Equal program, and it's done through stories and activities. That security, please take her away. Well, I think she's Italian. you know how Italians are. Yeah, disgusting. Well. And they're going to tell them about it. It's wonderful, beautiful. And basically, it is a program. Look, the program is new because you remember the Wheel of Fortune and Flipper. What about Flipper? Training a dolphin for a TV program, it's really hard to train them. I mean, training animals, imagine how many I would have eaten it, but almost over. Sorry. Yeah. Well, what the Gomaespuma Foundation does, it's an amazing foundation. We train teachers, and we provide the materials. And those are basically books. So they read a book a week, and then the follow-up. Yes, and then there's a follow-up, and to make sure they're doing things right. But this needs funding, not too much funding, but some funding. And that's why we want people to help us found it. Some schools can afford it and can pay for it, not many, and then some schools cannot afford it, and we help them finance it. So the important thing and the main difference between using social and emotional training or not is that today, I don't know if you realize this, but you go out and you watch TV or you listen to the radio and you go on New Year's Eve. I mean, the world, it's frowning a bit. Because we haven't learned. We've made some mistakes when trying to live with each other. So this program provides children with tools so they can work and live with other people, so they can respect other people, irrespective of whether they like that person or not. I mean, you don't need to love everybody as Saint Teresa, as Mother Teresa, but it's just a matter of respecting everybody's ideas and respecting everybody and try to resolve conflicts that affect us all, even if you don't want to go to their birthday party. It's just a matter of being a good citizen, learn how to be a good citizen, because that's going to be important as you grow up. So it's an investment. In this case, it's in Spain. The program is in 34 countries, but we want Spain in the future to be Spain that's less stressed, kinder, and funnier as well, so people can enjoy diversity. Well, this is not goodwill. This is not a research on goodwill. This has scientific evidence already, because Leslee has implemented this in other 33 countries. There's a guy with thick glasses that's been taking a look at everything. Now, then there's an assessment, and the Gomaespuma Foundation is going to do some assessment. And now we want to have scientific evidence for it as well. So, we'll shut up, because I mean we've been talking too much. I feel like I'm being really funny, but he's not. Yes, I've been out. I mean, he's been so much time in the United States that he needs to translate what he's saying. He's a bit slower now. He was a bit slow before, but sometimes you'll see it, and sometimes my lips are not. How did you say church? I mean, I can't remember. How do you say church? But I mean that. But sometimes you'll see that my lips are not moving as well. There's a bit of a delay. That's the jet lag. That's an advantage I've got, because I have no lips. So security, please. Well, we've got experts. Antonella is going to introduce the first person here, and they know how important social and emotional training is. So we'll talk to them, and then we'll talk to Leslee to see what the program's about. The first person is from UNICEF. Those are the people who have just one brow or something. I don't know. Yes, it's better if she's in the middle. Yeah, not. We shouldn't have her in the middle. Now, because she's gonna have to look both ways. So let's have her sit here. No, she's sitting here and we'll sit there. All right. Well, Sandra Astete, she's an activist for the rights of children. She's in charge of mental health, the mental health strategy at UNICEF Spain. Sandra, please go ahead. Well, Sandra really loved Pérez. No, she's from Peru. I don't know what I was thinking about. Yes, I come from Peru and Chile. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you for being here today, really. And let's first question. Look, 5 points. If you answer right, you have a ride to a trip to Mallorca for two in a 5-star hotel. Everything's paid by you and your partner. So, which are the symptoms you have seen in your work that show that mental health problems are increasing? Let's go. In people, 30 seconds. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Juan Luis, from the Gomaespuma Foundation. I want to thank all those of you who made this possible. Leslee, David, everybody, Elisa, and also the audience, because you've made an effort and you've shown your commitment by being here today. And from UNICEF Spain, we're going to try to provide some context about what mental health amongst children and young people looks like in our country. We don't want to be alarmists because it's a very complex situation. Mental health is multidimensional and multifactorial, but I'm going to share 3 pieces of data with you, and we'll finish with how relevant it is and how how important it is to promote social and emotional training in young children. The first figure comes from, it's an official figure from Spain. In 2017, 13.2% children between 4 and 14 in our country were at risk of suffering mental health. 13.2%. Okay, before the pandemic, that's data from 2017, and this year the ministry is going to share some updated information, and we'll see what the situation looks like. But that's surprising already. And a second piece of information that makes us feel sad, but it's something that we should tackle, being rigorous, is that unluckily in 2022, that's the latest data we've got on teenager suicide rate. Well, this rate increased compared to 2021 by quite a lot, especially amongst boys. We need to understand why this is happening, why a boy or girl decides to end their lives. And there is no fixed pattern, and that's what public administrations are trying to walk around, and that's the commitment of society and companies. We're trying to focus to provide real solutions for these problems. And a third piece of information comes from a report we launched, and it gathers the perception and the opinion of children and teenagers. We launched in October last year. Over 5,000 boys and girls answered to the following question. Do you think you have suffered some mental health issue in the past years? 3 out of 4 children said yes, that in the past 12 months they have suffered, or they thought they had suffered some sort of a mental health issue. Well, 41%. But what was actually most surprising is that when we asked, did you ask for help? Did you tell somebody about it? Your father, your mother, your guardian? Well, 1 out of 3 said they hadn't told anybody. And more than half of them said that they were not going to ask for help. Why? It was a matter of mistrust. They were afraid to say that they could be suffering, or that they were feeling in this emotional unrest, and they were afraid of their parents or guardians to see them differently or not support them. Those are the figures, just to try to analyze and answer to the question. There's a alarming context, and we have to make decisions to tackle it. We need more data, but we also have to raise awareness around stigmatization, and around education. Schools should be safe spaces. It's the natural space, the natural human space to share and learn for all of us, boys, girls, and teenagers. And that space those safe schools should focus strongly now more than ever in promoting social and emotional training of boys, girls, and teenagers. It's not a subjective topic. It's not a fashion thing. It's not just that. It's based actually on scientific evidence, and it's a basic skill that children and teenagers should have to be able to coexist and to learn and to be motivated and to know how to face just normal things that happen in life, that things that we all go through in our everyday experiences. But we need commitment from all to understand that this has to be implemented. It has to be put into practice, and social and emotional training for our children in a crucial evolutional window, one of the first years, 3 to 6 year olds. That's the natural and essential window for children to learn and consolidate behaviors and attitudes that are based on empathy and solidarity and compassion. That's a word we don't use frequently, but it's essential. And also in sharing and equity. Great. I mean, you got the 5 points, I think. I don't know. After everything you said and how you tackled it, I mean, and I'm here with my data. This question is true or nothing. You can win a condo, or else you have to invite us. I had another question for you, but you already answered the third one. So we're going to ask you the fifth question. That was for the following person, but still, I wanted to ask you. I mean, everything you mentioned is what's happening now, and we are going to explain amongst early childhood. In early childhood, that's probably the source of everything that happens afterwards. But what's UNICEF doing? And I guess I'm sure you have a program. I'm sure there are many needs, and you probably have to join the dots, like those pictures or those games you had when we were little kids. And well, thank you for the invitations, because we generate natural synergies. Well, in this context, especially after the pandemic, in UNICEF International, UNICEF Spain, there's a debate led by young people to normalize mental health and to be able to talk about emotions. Besides that context, now we must say that we are facing social and demographical transformation, different family models, multiculturality, and I've been here for 20 years, and I'm here with you. I work for UNICEF. I come from I'm married to a man from Asturias. I have a 5-year-old daughter, but we have digital media transformation, and it's a huge transformation. If we want to take a look at the picture from 20 years ago and see what's happening now, we'll probably be aware of the huge change that's happened with all its challenges and concerns as well. So, in that context, and I won't talk about armed conflicts and these things. I'm not going to talk about politics, but this is something that has to do with all of us. Well, UNICEF realized that we have to prioritize mental health. Well, we have 2 digital rights that are very closely linked to what Telefónica is doing as well. And of course, given the need to protect children in the digital world, that's essential, and everything that has to do with mental health as well. So we've realized we have an amazing tool, which is prevention and promoting emotional well-being and mental health. We cannot start working with, go to mental adults, and in many cases, those issues that are not genetic, they could have been tackled in that early childhood. Sorry to interrupt.
Guillermo, what's the percentage of the money that they devote to? Yeah, she'll explain it later, but she is a piece of information that we'll copy right now. We'll steal the scoop, I would say. For each prisoner in a cell in England, because of violent action crime, what it costs to maintain that prisoner, that inmate, would be the same that it would cost to implement Think Equal among 48,000 children. So the prevention you can have with 48,000 children would be the same as a punishment with just one inmate. Yeah, it's impressive, and it has been measured, and it has been accounted for. And just another piece of information following this line. The medical attention, 70% of etiologies of the problems of chronic mental health issues, 70% appeared during childhood. This comes from UNICEF International of 2021 global information. No, and during childhood, that's very important. And remember that when I was in the yard, I was 4 years old, and Corcuera said if I could give him a little bit of sandwich, and you said that you put the finger right, because it was like, okay, but he skipped my finger, he bit me, and he took almost my whole sandwich, and I haven't forgotten about that, even with my finger. Yeah, that's universal. Who hasn't put the finger on the sandwich? Can I have a little bit? Yeah, but just up to here. Well, maybe we're having fun. I mean, now I'm giving this piece of information. We are betting on 5 fields of action. First of all, we'll have the health phase. We're working with the Ministry of Health, with different administrations of health, and in order to promote primary attention, to identify, and the therapy quality attention, so that they do not get to a psychiatrists. I mean, he didn't bite my finger. He pushed it with his teeth. And second sphere would be educational sphere. We have families, and we have children participation. We should listen to them. They have a lot to say. And of course, awareness. If we don't have the social group and authorities, we won't make it. And I'm including big companies here that have responsibility, big and not as big ones, and medium-sized too, and small companies too, every single company. In the educational world, we are betting on this promotion of these programs, etc. We're a family here. We've identified a very powerful one in UNICEF in the sphere of preventing and boosting emotional well-being in the adolescents through HINC and Zurich Foundation and Hospital San Juan de Dios, but we couldn't find one that was based on evidence, and we've already found it based on the early childhood, because we want to promote its deployment at different territories of our country in the educational sphere. And we hope to have allies with other companies and enterprises in order to make it come true. Well, thank you very much, Sandra. Thank you very much. A big round of applause. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Gracias. Muchas gracias. No vayáis muy lejos y
So don't go very far away. I'm going to introduce my friend Leslee, our friend Leslee Udwin. Her personal story is impressive. I'll just give a teaser, because she will speak about it. The point is that Leslee was born and she lives in London. She's an actress. She plays drama. She has shooted movies, TV shows. She has directed documentaries. And in 2014, she went to India to shoot a documentary, and something happened. She got in touch with the reality that broke her in the inside, and she decided to forget about her life, and she started a brand new life. It was a life about creating and spreading Think Equal. She allied with experts in education, neuroscience, psychology. She was supported by great celebrities like Meryl Streep, Helen Mirren, Susan Sarandon, and she creates this program that now is present in 34 countries, that it has already been said, and has had an impact on more than 500,000 children. Many awards and acknowledgements. See how many children you have in the world. 500,000 children. Imagine you have them for a weekend. Well, the point is that I won't mention every award she has been given, but she has received the WISE Award. It's very important. Mujeres por la Paz from United Nations. She's speaking to the whole world from United Nations. She has been with the Pope. The Pope has publicly supported her program. And thousands of acknowledgements. Leslee is going to speak about something that can be, something that we need here, right? Yeah, sorry for the interruption. As you can see, Leslee's career is going down. After all that, she comes to Gomaespuma. She comes here with Gomaespuma, you see. And 4 years ago, after 2 years, you'll be done. Okay. Yeah, in 2 years she will be working in a taxi. So Leslie is going to tell us about this program, and then she will talk to Gomaespuma. It will be in English. You know that you have headsets. You can use it if you want to follow this in Spanish.
Yes. If you like, or you have a chair.
Vamos a dar un fuerte aplauso a Leslie.
Whichever.
Big round of applause for Leslie.
From here or from here?
From here.
Excellent.
Bueno, yo creo que no vamos a preguntar.
I think that we won't ask anything to Leslie because she is the best in explaining everything. You can ask her about anything.
Am I going to be able to speak?
I think so. No, please. You speak better than us.
Thank you. Buenas tardes.
Good evening. It's a great pleasure to be here with you all.
I have to carry on in English, and forgive me, please. When I can, I try to do it in Spanish, and I managed a bit this morning, but it's been a long day. And I want to do justice to speaking about this unbelievably important program. The first thing I want to tell you is how it came about. Antonella spoke about this film, this documentary that I went to India to make. It was based on the most brutal gang rape and murder of a young girl on a moving bus in Delhi. Do any of you remember that case? It stopped the heart of the world. We all heard about it wherever we were. And I went to India to make a film about it. And when I got there, I thought, what on earth do I think I'm doing here? I'm going to make another campaigning film. I'm going to create more awareness. Tell me, do we need any more awareness about gender-based violence? I don't think we do. So it occurred to me that the only purpose in staying in India and making a film about that case would be if I could get permission from the Directora General, you see I try sometimes, of the Tihar jail, the prison that these violadores were incarcerated in, to go there with my cameras and interview them. Because I thought, if I can't look into the eyes of these men who did that brutal thing to this girl, about whom the surgeons, and I'm sorry, this will turn your stomachs, but we need to know this. The surgeons who tried to save her life and failed said, we didn't know which parts of her to join. Okay? And I thought, if I cannot sit and look into their eyes and find out what kind of human beings do this to another human being, if we don't understand them, how are we going to change them? So I asked permission and I got permission. I sat for 31 hours over many months in prison cells with them and with other rapists who I practiced on. Practiced. What does that mean? That's crazy, right? Well, it's because when I was 18, I was raped. I'm one of the 1 in 5 women in our world who is raped. Those are the statistics all over the world. And I was so scared that I would leap out of my chair and throttle one of them, or, and I'm the most peaceful person on earth. I've never hit anyone. So I practiced on some rapists. The first one had raped a 5-year-old girl. And he explained to me exactly what gave him the right to do it. He said, she was a beggar girl. Her life was of no value. Word for word what he said to me. Her life was of no value. Now in India, we have the caste system, right? So the girl was from the lowest caste. She was a cockroach to be stamped on. That was it, what her life was worth. And the men on the bus also had no remorse, not even regret, when they told me She was out at night after dark. No good girl in India is out after dark. She was with a boy who wasn't her husband, wasn't her brother, wasn't her father. She not only deserved what she got, they said, we had a duty to teach her a lesson. Now, what I learned from these men is that the disease that we are dealing with in our world, increasingly, every year, so help me God, it's getting worse. You see it. How much worse can it be to now be shooting mothers with babies in their arms and going, yes, we can do this because you did this to us some time back. I mean, what has happened to humanity? The standards have gone. There are no standards. We would rather elect a felon, rapist, liar than a woman of color. I mean, the world has gone insane. And if we don't do something about it, urgently and drastically, you know which way it's going. We see it on our television screens every day. So I learned that the disease we're dealing with isn't the violence. That's the symptom of the disease. The disease is the mindset. It's the discriminatory mindset that says, you who are of a darker color than me, or of a lower caste than me, or a girl who should behave that way, you are of lesser or no value compared to me. That's the problem. So if we don't change mindset, we will change nothing. We will go nowhere. I learned that very clearly. And what brought the whole spotlight of my search onto education? Well, when I looked at these men and tried to analyze what do they all have in common, I discovered only one of them had finished secondary school. So I thought, very significant. Lack of education, that is a factor. Then I had a major problem. Because 2 weeks after that, I find myself interviewing all of the lawyers in the case with the highest possible degree of access to education. They were much worse than the rapists. One of the lawyers actually said, word for word a quote, if that girl on the bus had been my daughter, I would take her home to my farmhouse, and in front of my whole family, I would pour petrol on her and burn her alive. A lawyer. So what is education? When Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon we have to change the world, what did he mean by education? Because he sure as hell did not mean the education those lawyers had. So then I went online to look for his definition of education. There it is. I found it within minutes. It's one of the most famous things he said. No child is born hating another human being on the basis of the color of his skin, his religion, gender, any other factor. A child has to be taught to hate. And if he can be taught to hate, of course he can be taught to love. Now, who taught those men I interviewed in those prison cells to hate, to discriminate? We did. We did. We have to take responsibility. When I say we, I mean collectively society, socio-cultural thinking. What they teach boys and girls in India is not very far removed from what we teach our boys and girls here, or in England, or in the US, or in any other country in the world. It's called patriarchy. We all know it. What we teach about poor children being, less the right children to play with than, or the boy needing a full glass and the girl a half a glass. And I don't want to keep harping on about gender, actually, because gender is only one of the 25 competencies and skills that the Think Equal program teaches. But in essence, Think Equal is a program that teaches our children to love. Our mission is clear. I don't even have to dwell much on this. But I do want to just take out a couple of words here, because, when we say social and emotional learning, we generally think about emotional intelligence. But that's actually a misnomer, because emotional intelligence, which is emotional literacy and emotion regulation, it has two legs, that is just a small part of what social and emotional learning is. What about the social part, right? We have to teach our children to build and enjoy healthy relationships. There are a lot of competencies and skills they need to learn for that, and it's not just about emotions. Also, social justice. We have to teach our children that every single person on earth is of intrinsically equal value, regardless of their gender, their race, their ethnicity. It matters not. So social emotional learning, we actually underline, our brand of it is for well-being. And Sandra spoke so eloquently and remarkably about the figures and how horrific this pandemic of mental health disorders that's exploding all around us and getting worse and worse. One little statistic from England. 2 years ago, mental health disorders cost the country £121 billion. Isn't it better to prevent it? Do you know how much it would cost to teach this program to every single child in England? £3.5 million. We've done our figures because actually we want to offer it to the British government. We have a funder, and I'm going to tell you something about his offer for Spain soon, but in England, because he was watching me have a heart attack about the fact that they were revising the curriculum starting from the age of 6, leaving out, for heaven's sake, the most important part of the human life when we can actually create pro-social neuro pathways in the brain, where we can make a difference. 3 to 6, it's the only window we have. Build the foundation. What architect would build a building without a foundation? It'll fall down and get, So it's the same with the human being. The first 5 years have everything to do with how the next 80 turn out. And the English Department of Education decides to start from the age of 6 onwards in its curriculum review, and I was nearly having a heart attack. And this amazing funder we said, we can't afford to lose you yet. Your succession plan is not done yet. I'm going to pay for every child in England. I can't even get them to hear the offer. I can't even get the meeting with the Minister of Education. But you know what? Your second in command of your Ministry of Education, the Secretario Nacional, came today to the most beautiful event at a Think Equal classroom, and the stunning teachers from that school are here. Cádiz is the name of the school, and they are here with us tonight. And he came, and Emilio, the Consejo de Madrid, came, and you have here David and Almadina, people who have really working towards this goal. So you are lucky in this country, and I honor all of you for being so enlightened and moving forward. I'm still battling in England, but psychosocial support, critically important, of course, and social justice. So, next slide, and I'll start moving through them quicker. This, I'm not going to dwell on. I just want you to understand that the top brains in the world in psychology, neuroscience, education, and human rights came together and recognized that this is a movement as well as a program. And they gave their time all generously just because they believe in this movement. And you have here Sir Ken Robinson, probably the greatest giant in education who ever walked the earth, and sadly died 3.5 years ago. He wrote one of the books for the children. He poured over in the last 3.5 years of his life our lesson plans and our resources, helping us to scaffold them, and amazing people. And I can't dwell on this because we don't have time. And the objectives, you know what the objectives are: reduce antisocial behaviors and violence, and increase empathy and pro-social behaviors, kindness, teaching children to love. Next. Right. We'll pause a moment here because there are 34 countries in the world today that are implementing Think Equal, some at full saturation. We've just started in Ukraine, just trained 3,000 teachers. We are funded for every single kindergarten in the whole of Ukraine. And there we're doing a level that is trauma-informed, that is to help heal our children primarily. The countries in yellow, and now Zimbabwe has been added and should be here. 4 countries, North Macedonia, Gambia, Belize. The ministers of education there are so enlightened that they have mandated Think Equal alongside numeracy and literacy, compulsory, obligatorio for every single child. Now, many countries will say, oh, we don't mandate. We give our teachers the freedom to choose. How are teachers meant to know how to teach a brand new subject that hasn't existed before in tangible form? They need the tools in their hands. They need support. They need training. And frankly, if you leave it to every teacher to decide, how are you going to get equality of provision for the children? That's who we're doing this for. The children and their positive outcomes in life, and a peaceful and safe, prosperous future for all of us. We have to have equality of provision, and you can only do that with concrete tools, with a program. The only other country I just want to dwell on for a moment, I was very harsh about England. It's my country, so that's why I'm so harsh, right? But there is one glimmer of light in England, and I can name that glimmer. It's called Andy Burnham. He is the alcalde of Greater Manchester in the north. He has given this program, although he said, I can't mandate it, but I will offer it. And they raised the money from who? The National Health Service of England. They are paying. Talk about the pandemic of mental health, right? They are paying for every 4-year-old in 1,350 classrooms. They've been doing it for 2 years to get this program. And the 3-year-olds, 1,500 classrooms funded by the police. Because they know if you give learning like this to children while their brains are being built, they won't grow up to commit crime or suicide or rape or have mental health disorders. And another major problem we have in the system is mental health experts will not work with children under 5 because they say we can't diagnose under 5. We have to be with the crisis, with the adolescents. But the only time you can prevent is in the under 6s, right? So you've got to be with them so that when they are feeling sad, you teach them how they can handle it so it doesn't become depression and it doesn't become suicide, etc. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Shall I take it? It doesn't seem to be working. Well, okay, let's just skip through these because I'm feeling a little bit of pressure. You want me to finish. So let's go. Let's just keep skipping through them. How much longer do I have?
5 minutes.
Oh, well, that's great. I'll finish then. Let's keep going. These are graphs that prove what you already know, which is 3 to 6. That is the time, okay? Next, please. Next. I'll say one sentence about this. Anyone who's interested in the details, I can send you this material. we have done 3 randomized controlled trials in 3 very different countries. Colombia, Botswana, Australia. How different are they? Identical results. Anger and aggression hit the floor. And these trials were conducted by Yale University and IPA, very preeminent, respected evaluation body. So we have proved that this program works. Within our program, we have some other programs that themselves have had their own evaluations that have proved they work, and you've had 60 plus years worth of evaluation sitting on shelves in universities. And when people say, oh, we're data-led and science-driven, I don't think they read these books. They don't read these studies, because if they did, they would understand that you can prevent and you must prevent. It's easy to prevent. Go into any classroom now of the 163 classrooms in the 30-something schools that are currently implementing Think Equal, thanks to the enlightened Comunidad de Madrid, and you'll see how easy it is and how effective it is. There are extraordinary statistics. A child will earn up to 25% more income. So even if you're coming at this from, for me, the wrong point of view, but it may be the right point of view for you, which is we have to have 21st century skills and have our children skilled in. Look, to me, the question is simple. If we, as an education system, if we make compulsory numeracy, literacy, how on earth, if we are serious about our duty of care, which we have to our youngest and most vulnerable children, how on earth can we say, well, it's optional for them to learn how to value another human being? It's optional for them to learn how to lead healthy relationships or have self-esteem. This can't be optional, for heaven's sake. It's the basis of everything. Okay, next 2, because I know I won't go through these. That is the proof of the actual program. Next, please, Lucas. Okay, this is very important. And the next slide is, and I'll probably end there. In this heart, you see 25, not 2 or 4 or 5 beginning with the letter C. I mean, honestly, the amount of jargon that one has to put up with. The Convention of the Rights of the Child, which is a very seminal document which every nation state on earth ratified, but not one has really done anything about, states the following in Article 29. Education shall be directed to the whole personality of the child. Who's doing that? Where are we doing that? That is why we have the world we have. We have to take accountability. So, 25 competencies and skills is what are needed for a child to grow up to be a person of dignity who respects the dignity of lo demás. My pathetic attempt at Spanish tonight. Global citizenship, 2 minutes. Peaceful conflict resolution, empathy, the glue that sticks everything else together, inclusion, ciudad ambiental, environmental awareness. Of course we have to also teach this to our children. Okay, next is the structure of the program, and I will end with that. It's very, very simple. Because it's a brand new subject, we have to help our teachers to train as they teach. Because if we decided, you know what, we're going to pause, we're going to teach the entire workforce in the world, it's going to take us 60 years, if we're lucky, we can't do that. We can't afford to do that. It's gone too far. It's urgent and we have to stop it now. So, our teachers train while they are teaching, and there's only one way to do that, and that is with lesson plans that have been put together by some of the greatest experts in the world, and then the teacher knows how to make it their own. and how to amplify it and take off from that flight path, but at least they have the basis and the children get the same thing. And that's how you do it all over the world. Books, there are 3 elements. Books, you see some examples there. 1 book a week. It even makes the academic results and literacy fly up. There are lesson plans and there are resources. 30 weeks, it's as serious a subject as any other. 3 times a week, repetition, very important for laying those neural pathways in the brain. The last thing I want to say, because I really must stop and I really can go on for the next 2 hours, as you can probably have guessed by now, but the last thing to say is, there is no more important job in the entire world than teachers. And actually I want los docentes in this room, please to stand up. Please stand up. You are the whole future of our world is in your hands. Look at you. It's the most important job in the world. Y las honras, if that is the right way to say it. You have all my respect, all my love. There is nothing we will not do for the teachers in the world. And I thank you with all my heart for being so committed to this program. And we will see the results soon. And we will celebrate together, and I will keep coming back to celebrate with you. Muchísimas gracias de mi corazón. Todos.
Gracias, Leslie. No sé si todo el mundo lo ha...
Well, I don't know if everybody got it. She asked all the educators to stand up. I don't know if they all did. It was just to honor them and honor the most important profession in the world. And everything Leslie mentioned. And you have questions, please write them down, because at the end we're going to have a short Q&A session. So let's see what happened when we implemented these in the region of Madrid. That's right, 4 chairs. And we'd like to invite David Cervera Olivares. He's the Director General of Bilingualism and Education Quality Counselor of the government of Madrid. He was in charge of the implementation of the program, and also the teacher Elena Bartolomé Pérez. She was the coordinator of Think Equal in the school that the Queen visited in the morning. Please, let's go ahead. Well, thank you very much for being here. You've seen the energy that Leslie has. Imagine it's impossible to say no to her. That was amazing. Well, thank you all for being here. And let's start with you, if you don't mind. Yes, go ahead. Have you got 5 years? Well, wire it. Well, when we started talking to the region of Madrid and about Think Equal, what did you see in it to say, well, let's implement it? Well, first, please allow me to thank you for inviting me, and I want to thank Leslie for being here with us and explaining things firsthand. So, and what I saw was that it was another program that could be added to social and emotional education that we were implemented in Madrid in a different way through other paths. But this was the first time we had the chance to do it with her, in early childhood. So that was the spark that lighted that fire that said, we have to do this. And after many meetings, right, Luca? Well, we were able to find a formula to do it. And then, well, it's just the success was that when teachers fell in love with the project when we introduced it to them. Yes, I'm going to ask Elena. She's not among the best teachers, but she was she had nothing to do in the afternoon, so that's why she's here. But I mean, it's better to have one, even if she's not a good teacher. She lives nearby, rather than having someone who lives far away and she will have to get a taxi and have to pay for the taxi and everything. Well, I'm not one of the good ones, but still. Well, I saw you in the morning. I saw you in action, and this project is very exciting. And we were saying this to the girl who came, and I haven't been in Spain for a long time. When I left, I live in New York. He lives 300 kilometers away from New York. What do you live in Valencia? But it's a beautiful town. But and now she's been promoted to queen or something. But I mean, it was great to have, but the important thing was not to have the queen or Gomaespuma or children who say very funny things. But what was emotional was just like when the national team wins the World Cup, and you have everybody going out, and that was how exciting it was. I mean, in this world, and seeing hope and seeing children with tools, and you feel these emotions, and you end up hugging the queen, which is not what you should be doing. But anyway, question for Elena: what do you think? What's going on in that classroom? You go there every day, and I read books, children books, and I go there sometimes, and I think it's horrible when I go there. But you go there every day. Yes, I go there every day, and I'm very happy when I go. And I've seen several things happening. Well, first, I have seen emotional vocabulary has increased. Just a few examples. Last Monday, a boy in my class, and he was jumping around and skipping, and said, "See, I mean, the Friday's going to be, well, we'll see." And as soon as he got there, he got his picture and he put it up there, in this emotional meter. I say, I'm enthusiastic. And what do you say? You're up there because I have a lot of energy. And I say, whoa, please. But why have you got so much energy? And he said, I feel enthusiastic, and this is my cousin's birthday, and I'm going to have this loop over there. And he was enthusiastic about it. And I said, well, we're going to start the class, so please come and start with the plan activities, because we have several things going on. And so something else it happened this week as well, and I was amazed by it. It was raining, we couldn't go out to the playground, and we tell them, I don't say this at the beginning of the class. I mean, when I see training, that's when I say it. And one of them started, it's boring, and one of them said, I'm frustrated. And I said, what? Wait. Let's see what he thinks frustrated is. And I asked him, and why do you feel frustrated? I said, because I want to play football and I cannot because it's raining. So he explained it perfectly well. I mean, not even an adult says I'm frustrated. So the vocabulary is there. And what else have I seen? Well, there's a wider knowledge around everything emotional. I mean, their emotions. They know that throughout the morning they can have different feelings, different emotions, and emotions change. And we have nice emotions and emotions that are not nice, and they can manage themselves. And they started doing this. If you have a very an emotion you really dislike, you can start doing things. They manage that to make sure that emotion is less. And I'm seeing this with 5-year-olds. Yes, so they start managing. Yes, it's amazing. But give us what they do. They breathe, or what do they do? Well, the program provides you with many things. Yes, breathing, relaxation, the rest and plan part of it. And we also talk about the senses. There are activities to work on the senses. So they say, I feel sort of punches. I have a monster in my stomach and it's punching me. And a girl might say, well, that's that's the. Might say, well, that's because that's somebody or whatever. Yes, we talked to some of your partners and your colleagues, and sorry, wait, sorry, I'm forgetting. I'm in charge here. Wait, no, she's gonna forget. Yeah, no, you cannot tell me to shut up. But go ahead. Well, something else. Hey, go rest and relax or whatever. Go. Let's go to the massage area or something. And well, for teachers, some of them are see me. I see there are less conflicts in the classroom. They're just kinder to each other. They're nicer. So they have more empathy, and then they go back home and they teach their parents, they teach their families. Yeah, that was my question. Well, no, it's gone now. Well, now I can tell you some other stories. A mother came to talk to me. She said she told me, what's about taming my tiger? My daughter told me that I had to tame my tiger. And she said, she didn't explain this to you? And she said, yes, she did. But I want you to explain this to me to see if it's exactly the same thing. And I explained it. I said, boy, she did great. Yeah, she explained it very, very well. In the old days, it's are you my wolf? But I think that's different. But, well, the mother was, I don't know, something might have been happening at home, and she was probably furious about it, and she had repeated things like 1,000 times, and the tiger was out there, and the daughter said, hey, tame your tiger. So, well, David, some people from schools are here, and they might be thinking about implementing this, but we all know, and well, as a writer, I go to school and I see the work that is. I mean, taking care of that person for half an hour and 45 minutes. Imagine doing this every day. I mean, so you're a full-time hero. So, but given all the work that teachers have, I say, and now Think Equal, and we also have to do this. So, what was the implementation like in Madrid? How easy or hard or stressing was it? Well, we always start by with training activities for teachers, precisely to try to accompany them. And it's true that teachers have a huge workload, and this is not something you have to add to that workload, because it can be seen as an extra work, and it partly is, because I do have to go through the training, and I have to learn new teaching methodologies, and I have to learn how to manage my classroom. I mean, they were doing great, but now I have to change something, compared to what I had been doing. But when you start implementing it, and when you start seeing that this is complementary to what you're doing, and the time that it demands is, it's probably just and right and fair, and you can see the results. I believe that what's important is that, and that's the feedback we're getting from teachers, when you implement it and when you start working on it, the satisfaction of seeing that children evolve, and they really are aware of what is being taught. I mean, they're small, but they're surprised. They surprise us with their expressions and their thoughts. And then also the follow-up done by the Gomaespuma Foundation and in the training center as well. I mean, the SME, it's just a network of schools in Madrid and their advisors as well, and they help implement the program. And well, difficulties slowly become realities, and collaboration between different schools when they meet. How did you do this? How are you doing this? And best practices as well, and the ability to have that exchange between schools and teachers, because the essential characteristic of the schools in Madrid is that it's implemented in all the levels, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. I mean, all the teachers, and so it's a program that's led by the headmaster, and it's managed as an educational program within their own DNA. So when all the pieces start fitting, it's very satisfactory, but it's not probably additional work. It's something that goes hand in hand with what they had been doing already. Well, you can ask one ways, because you have to ask something as well. But in the morning, we had what many teachers said, and they said, we felt that we needed tools, and to manage this. I mean, children, you cannot tell children, Johnny, do your homework. They don't do it. I mean, you have to know if Johnny is living in a room with 7 more children and it's impossible to do their homework. I mean, you don't know if dog's barking to Johnny, and we don't know if Johnny is cold at home, or if their parents love him or not. And I mean, at my age, probably your experience is probably the same. If you were lucky back then, the teacher asked you and said, "What's going on, Johnny?" And you said, "Nothing." But now Johnny knows that he can say, I'm yellow, and everybody, the rest of the children know that Johnny is yellow, and they know what you need to do when Johnny is yellow. So it's a problem for the whole classroom, and the teacher knows already. Yes, that happened to me when my daughter, she had a room for her own, and I asked, she didn't do her homework, and I asked her, she told me for stupid things, and I went yellow. Yeah, yellow and red and whatever. But I don't know if this happened to you, but you felt the need, but you didn't really know how to land it. And that's what this program is. I mean, you have, I now have the screwdriver. Now I can.
So
youth education, we've worked on emotions, but in such a way, maybe with a story, with a tale. Maybe you were working for a month, you were working on fear, another month you worked on sadness, or in education, attention, you said, well, this quarter will be for emotions, but what about religion? So what have I seen in this program? That it is quite systematic. Every week we work, there are 2 or 3 sessions with a great bunch of activities, and among them there is specific time for children to talk, to explain themselves, and that's very well included. Besides, you have tales and other activities are deployed. So moodometer, to put in some way. So the kindness garden, for example, activities to work on our senses. For example, smelling and your senses in the inside. Well, maybe you should implement that at the parliament. It would be much more interesting, yeah, all over the place, I would say. I have another question for you. I don't know if I should ask you, but as you were at school this morning and we were talking to some colleagues of yours, it was quite eye-catching to me. One of your colleagues was working with children with high capacity, so she said that it was being very useful for them to work with these children. It's amazing, right? So there are many high-capacity children that the way they manage emotions and they get along with each other is quite difficult. Well, David, you already have the experience in the region of Madrid because in Think Equal has been implemented. So what would you tell to the responsibles in other communities? Not to threaten them, please. No, they should implement the program, I would say. I think that when you discover the program, it can be sold by itself, and if you have the chance of talking to Leslee, the energy flows absolutely without any kind of issue. And well, he lives in England. Well, she lives in England, sorry. She just comes here once a year. So it's like, hey, Leslie's coming. So no dinner that night. No, the reality is that in every region we have Leslie asked for a little bit of sandwich and I put my finger on it, but I was moving it. We have we are in touch with many people who have meetings, and we even have education programs. We have a teaching observation project among different education centers of different regions: Madrid, Galicia, Aragon, Murcia, Castilla y León. And these programs are observed because this observation process is not only how you teach or how you teach your subject or how you evaluate, but it is how you live at this school, what projects are being implemented and how positive they are, how you welcome families when deploying some actions, how do you plan the internationalization, how do you work on social and emotional education. So through these projects we are getting to know how these programs and others that are linked to social and emotional education are being developed in different communities. I would say that the important thing is that these events shed light on it, and we are implementing this on other regions. So different departments should decide to implement it as a pilot project. And maybe it should be upside down, so not a school but the region who implements it. So at the pace that Fundación Gomaespuma has, at our pace, to have it in every school in the region of Madrid, it would take 135 years, and I would be retired, I think. So just retired, yeah. But the important thing and the necessary thing is that we have funds that, of course, that the administrations are interested, and we have support by companies so that this can be funded, because this while is being paid by us.
Menos mal que vive en Inglaterra. Menos mal que vive en Inglaterra.
Fortunately, she lives in England.
Offer to make. The most important thing, and I forgot to say it earlier.
Dice que tiene una oferta que hacer. Bueno, tenéis traducción vosotros, ¿no? O sea que nada.
Think Equal offers to Spain a country we love and respect and admire, 50% of the cost for every child across Spain to get this program. Every bit of the cost, 50%. Who's matching?
Traduce.
Bueno, ha anunciado que...
Well, basically, she announces that Think Equal offers to fund 50% of the program to every child in Spain. We need to find the other 50%. If we find the other 50%, we already have 50%. And I think that if we squeeze a little bit, she'll give 60%. No, don't leave. They are not leaving. You are not leaving either. A few minutes to chat with all the speakers. So Leslie, if you want to join us. So you add a couple of seats. So someone will help us, right? A great hostess that will help us with the mic. So what's your name? Sorry? Miriam. Thank you, Miriam. So questions from the audience for any of the 6. If you want to Leslie, I can translate if you want. There's someone here and we have another one there. 1 and 2. Okay, here the first one.
Aquí la primera. Vamos a hacer, Miriam va a hacer un ejercicio de músculos y glúteos. Adelante.
Yeah, go ahead and please say your name. Hello, good evening. It has been very interesting. I knew the program. My name is Ana Bujaldón and I chair the Spanish Association of businesswomen and women presidents or women CEOs. So this Leslie, I think that emotions can be a tool to challenge gender stereotypes. So how does Think Equal set this development in order to break traditional roles and to train children since they are children, so that they can normalize equality in every stage of life? Hey, come on, hey. Okay, come on, yeah. So what's the most ambitious goal or the most desired goal that the program has? And a question. Will this impact get to the future when these children are social leaders?
Sure. The second one I'll need reminding of, but
Okay.
a little
She asked,
later.
what's your maximum aspiration? This is the second
that
question.
was the second question.
Ma'am.
Okay. How do we create gender equality amongst our boys and our girls? Look, we have recursos that show that girls and boys can be anything. An astronaut, we have a male astronaut and a female astronaut. We have a mother and a father with a baby in the arms, or a father changing the nappies and a mother doing the same. So there is that kind of very literal gender equality showing children that there is no division, there is no stereotypical role for a mother or a father. But then we have much more subtle ways as well. You know, when we say gender equality, we're not just talking about our girls. By the way, am I being translated?
Yes, of course.
Good. We're not just talking about protecting our girls or somehow our boys need so much help and protection. Because from the minute our boys open their eyes in the world, we are saying to them, man up! Hey, strong boy, strong man, don't you cry like a girl, and we're getting our boys to believe that crying is weak. Emotions are not good to express. You asked earlier, Sandra, how come suicide is the #1 killer of our young boys right across the world? It's much more present amongst boys than girls. I know why. because we're putting our boys in straitjackets, emotional straitjackets, so they feel a failure if they're not that big, strong guy that their daddy, told them to be as he hauled him up on his shoulders to the football mat. We're all human, every single one of us. So there's a book called Fesser is Not Himself, a boy whose father, the role model, teaches him we have to express our emotions. There's no emotion that's good or bad. Everyone feels. So it's in ways like that. I could go on, but I think I've given you 2 examples. And what is my ultimate desire, my aspiration? Every child, in every classroom, in every country in the world. And the new strategy of Think Equal is to bring on board every single year 10 countries at full saturation with a memorandum of agreement with the countries. In the first year, we only started this new policy 4 months ago when this angel funder came into our lives and said, I so believe in what you're doing, I'm giving you all my money. Right? So now we have a new policy. And in 10 years, we'll have more than half the world's countries. Easy. You know how many countries we've got this year, if you think I'm too ambitious? 14. We have to cut back. So that's my ultimate desire. And we're achieving it.
Thank you. Teníamos 2
So we had 2. There was a gentleman with his hand up. Yeah, 1 and 2. Yeah. Hello, good evening. Everything was been very interesting. I'm not an educator, and I'm really chuffed into bits. Do you have money? So, but he said that he's not an educator. So, first and foremost, I'm not saying this because I think it's politically correct, because in this context, I can disagree if that was the case. I truly believe what you're saying. Emotional education among children is paramount. But there are people in our culture, people that supposedly have good criteria, and I don't think that they're very reactionary, I would say, in that in some way are saying that educating our children in what you're describing, that they would describe as being too good or something like that, they are preparing like weak adults, and when they face people that don't have this education, maybe they come from other countries, or maybe they haven't had it here, maybe they are dumber or something like that. So they would be bullied or something like that. So what do we have to tell these people for them to know that this is not the case? Well, I would like to know who these people are. Arturo Pérez Reverte, for example, has written it on Twitter, and I truly respect him. And I think that he's a person that is following good criteria, and I think that he's sure about it. What should we tell him? So, if you allow me, there are scientific evidences from different research teams and ideologies, if you want to call it that way, that say that social and emotional education has a very important and long impact on the social, educational, and psychological development of any child, especially between 3 and 6 years old. What does this mean? Promoting these programs will increase and improve self-esteem, and this is directly related to a good emotional well-being. But besides, this kind of social and emotional work in the classroom in that first stage creates some cognitive skills that promote learning. As our colleague was saying, there's conflict resolution, there's a lot of motivation, there's less violence in general, and this makes us have a sense of belonging. Then there's less school abandonment. and less failure. In terms of social and educational training, that has a great repercussion not only in social and psychological terms, but also economic for the society as a whole. It is where we have to invest if we want to have a society with social cohesion, a productive society with better health and better mental health. Yeah, I want to say, by the way, that, well, I saw the name.
And when he talks about strength, what's he focusing? Strong is being a man punching another more strongly. That's a piece of shit, because I come from, I come from a rough neighborhood. I mean, strength's not measured by how aggressive you are or violence. Quite the opposite. And yes. Well, what this program allows people who attend it is to provide them with tools so they're able to manage their emotions. And I just got here from Vietnam, and they do something that's quite normal there. And they go to a gym. So if I fight, a kick here and there, that's not what they do. They go like this. They breathe. They control their air, and give that they need the arm. They take they talk about the key there. So so this is pure iron, and they hit you in the head, and they just take your head off, right? So wow, that Guillermo, that's what you're talking about. Well, they can control their body. They know they need the end of their foot, and they put all their energy into it. But if they hit you with it, I mean, you're done. So if I have the ability to manage my own emotions, and I have someone aggressive in front of me, I'm going to be more able to get out of that conflict successfully by using other tools they haven't got. In our case, I mean, humor just got us from so many situations. It saved us so many times. He sings, and he knows how to play the guitar. But it got us into a ton of issues as well. The fact of having him singing, and we'll have to use humor to get out of that situation. But still, in knowing how to deal with things is good. So I think we had. Sorry, just 1 second. Once we got called from San Sebastian in the north of Spain. So a newspaper called us to go to San Sebastian to an awards ceremony, and we thought this was an awards ceremony from the newspaper, and they were giving awards. The newspaper was giving awards, but it was a card like a poker awards or something like that. So they took us to a big house in the countryside, and people were a very rural area and very rural people, and we were supposed to be funny, in that environment. So we got out there, we tried to be funny, and everybody was, so, and we were going, everything was going worse and worse. We were looking out the window to see where the car was, and so I told Guillermo, hey, let's just shut up. We're not going to say another word. You give the award and I'll sing. Truly, that's what happened. And the winner is, I thought, whatever. And I started, and so they were extremely happy. So really, that happened. I think we had one more question here. The gentleman with the white shirt. Make it good, because you represent the whole collective from this side. So please don't ask questions to Leslee, because we'll never finish here. I mean, it's gone. So well. I'm just John Smith, whatever, and what you're saying sounds great, but I don't see how parents are involved and family in general. Yes, we also provide training to the parents. Yes, but you didn't mention it, and I am wondering if we are giving more importance to school than to school in education, if the school's more important than family is. I think Elena can probably answer to this. Well, I think we are, yes, that part of family training is missing. But when I meet with the parents, I get feedback, and when children get out of class, and I also get that feedback, and I talk to them. So the other day they told me, in the weekend we started relaxing with warm drinks. Do you do this with your children to do this? No, we all get relaxed with warm drink. People go back home and they tell things to their parents. And another girl told me, when we gather in the assembly, when we work in the groups, my parents were shouting the other day, and I said, well, and what happened? Well, I told them that you have to talk. There's no need to shout, and things can be solved by talking. I mean, these were her words, but I do get what you're saying. I think we need maybe some training for the parents, or maybe a parent school or something like that. Oh, look at this. Ana, she's the coordinator of Think Equal in Spain. She's from the Gomaespuma Foundation, and she spent time with many parents. Yes, from, the first and second years. Families were demanding it, and when we visited teachers in schools, they were telling us that families were also wanted to know a bit more and getting to know what Think Equal was, and they also wanted to get some training. So that's something we implemented in Spain. It's probably not part of Think Equal UK, but we started with it because we saw that demand from families. So we go to schools and we give 2-hour talks. It's not as in-depth training as the one that teachers get, but we do have a workshop, and we teach them the mood meter, for example. That's something that they've mentioned several times, and I was hearing speakers talking about it, and I said, you know what, we did not explain what the mood meter is to our audience. Maybe of you were wondering what it was, but it's a tool that we've seen it in the pictures quite a lot, and we have those quadrants with different colors, and it's very easy to use, but it's very useful, and that's the main exercise we use in the program for children to practice the 5 skills of emotional self-regulation, which is being aware of the emotions in your own body, understanding where the emotions come from and what caused them, giving a name to those emotions, expressing them and sharing them, and then to regulate those emotions. So through this chart, they use the picture. Yes, it is here. We do have some piece of paper that you can take home, and they've got the mood meter on the back. So teachers practice it every day, just as they practice, additions and adding and subtracting. With the mood meter, they learn how to regulate their emotions and understand their emotions, and through repetition, they generate that habit. That's actually managing your own emotions. But Paco, you were probably saying that family is as important for children as school is, but it is. But what has changed? What's happening is that the social model has changed. The family is changing. When I was a small kid, in my grandparents' birthday, we had cousins and nephews, and your second cousin. There were 50 of us, and as Guillermo was saying in the morning, the whole family was there to watch one TV. And so social interaction and intra-family interactions were completely different. We cannot change the social model, but we can, and this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to provide them with tools so we can adapt our children to the new society. But we cannot try to get society to go back to what it was. Because children are not playing in the streets every day. They're not chasing each other because they are, in front of the screen. So we're not going to be able to change that. But they still live at home.
You have recursos for parents. I have to take that out, it's echoing. We have 5 10-minute activities which we send home every week to the parents. Now, we're not doing it yet here because we just haven't got to that, right? We're still working on getting the system right and making sure that we scale up the program, because scale is our North Star. We have to reach every child, otherwise it's not going to work, right? We send home in many countries to the parents 150 10-minute exercises through the year, and every 10-minute exercise deals with work the children have done in the class that week. So it's all interacting at home, the child, the teacher. You will get it soon, okay? It's in translation for Spanish. Also, it's very important to say, the parents at home, forgive me, Paco, but I have to say the truth, right? The parents at home have not learned the right things because the subject didn't exist. All they can do is pass on their discriminatory mindset to the children and say, don't play with that child, because we are looking for a new peaceful world here, an inclusive world. So the place it has to happen is where children learn how to be, how to behave. Parents are very busy themselves now, chasing accumulation of wealth, working a few jobs on their phones. It's a very different world. The best place to learn this is at school, and we do involve the homes, I promise you.
Hemos acabado el tiempo. Tomamos.
Sorry, we did run out of time. Just one more. Who's got the last big question, please? I think we've got one here. Yep. Let's see which one's better. Ask both and we'll choose. Let's see. Your question was good? Well, you can ask afterwards in person. Well, we come from a school in Usera, part of Madrid. And my question is, if they're implementing this implementation as well for countries that receive partly funding from the government and partly from parents. Well, these projects started 4 years ago with in the UK that would be private schools, but we want to get to know and support and maybe talk about modifications or adapting the program to other needs. It's not the same thing to have, the program we have in Madrid or the curricula they have in any of the other regions for several reasons. We probably don't need to explain that, but curricula are different. So we started this pilot project and it's finishing this year, and we have to think about how to develop it in the future. And after everything we've learned in the past few years, to be able to guarantee that training is as efficient as possible for teachers, and to see how to gather data to be able to assess the program and reach conclusions, to be able to keep on growing, not just with the schools in the region of Madrid, we were talking about it yesterday, but also with other schools that are implementing it even at an international level. And of course, we'd like to include those centers, those training and centers that raise their hand and who want to participate. But always there are going to be priorities, and we have to balance it out. And of course, there are many conversations to have still. But in any case, maybe starting next school year or by the end of next year, that's when we'll start with that. Well, then I get to go to Gomaespuma to wrap it up. Really? Go fuck off. No, but give the money to us and we'll see. No, really, thank you for being here. Thank you to the people in the back as well. I want to thank those who are streaming these, the people who are going to be watching this afterwards, because it's been recorded and it's going to be there in the foundation website. I want to thank the members of the Gomaespuma Foundation. We have a website, fundaciongomaespuma.org, and you can be members, and you can give €1 a year, €1 every 3 years, 200 million a day, whatever you want. So you can give as much as you want, and you can choose. It can be for the Think Equal program, or for the foundation in general, or for the bicycles of children in Nicaragua, whatever you want. And then if you're a company, if you're watching this from an SME, I don't know, like Inditex or the Santander Bank, any startup watching, any small company watching, well, we also need the help. And Leslee mentioned it. Anything. She's matching whatever companies are giving. So 50%. So thank you very much. We are going to do everything we can. Without the support of our people and our members, we wouldn't be able to do anything. And that's really it. I'm feel a bit sad, really. I'm living. Of course, I want to thank you as well, Antonella. Amazing, thank you. And I feel a bit down because you did not ask me to sing. So now we're done. We're done. No. But I don't want to sing now. No, because they're closing Telefónica in 10 minutes, so we have to vacate it as soon as we can. But please don't leave without getting the training materials. It's wonderful. It's right there on the table or outside. Where is it? It's right on the table. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here.
Muchas gracias. Un placer. ¿Foto? Pues foto.
Picture? Sure.